of Snow and Whirlpools by Orpheus Chidwell. Chapter 2. Everything has changed. Naruto gripped the kunai tightly in his hand as he looked at the scene before him. The bodies strewn over the bridge of bridge workers he had been helping over this last month. Tazuna and Sakura cowering on the side from their fear at the massive killer intent released between Kakashi, Zabuza, Haku, and Sasuke. Kakashi and Zabuza fighting once more within the mist of Zabuza's signature hidden mist jutsu. Sasuke trapped inside of Haku's demonic marine ice crystal. The bridge was a battlefield. He had just arrived after he awoke from the late sleep because he had been up all night worrying about the events he knew would come today. It was a good thing, though, as he had stopped two of Gato's thugs who had attempted to capture Tsunami to use as a hostage. Their deaths barely even affected him, as Kurama-sensei forced him to kill every night in Mindscape training since he met her when he was 7. She was a harsh teacher, even more brutal, while they trained in his Mindscape, but the results were all there, and for that he was grateful. Ah, you're welcome, Naruto-chan. The melodic voice of his red-headed tenant replayed to his thoughts. He sighed as he knew he had to decide now, Haku or Konoha. On one hand, Konoha had been his home forever, and the Hokage was almost like his grandfather. He was also a ninja of the leaf, which meant that if he left, that they would hunt him down, not to mention that he was a Jinchuriki. On the other hand, Haku was his only true friend. He didn't even know how to describe it. Haku-chan had this certain quality to her that made him feel different than with anyone else. Just by being near him, she made Naruto feel as if he mattered as a person and not as a weapon or as a ninja. Naruto just found himself so used to her presence that he felt as if this day wouldn't come at all. It was just so unfair. Every time he had something good, why did he have to lose it? Calm down, Naruto. Kurama's gentle voice soothed. Your anger will release my chakra and you know it. I know that you can control up to 2 tails, but no one else does, so how do you think they would react? Especially the council? Inwardly, the blonde nodded to his tenant and calmed himself with a deep breath. Thanks, Kurama-sensei. Do you have any advice on what I should do? I thought you'd never ask. You know I hate Konoha with a passion. So I say leave them. Plus Haku-chan is so cute. I wanted to see my little kit have kit of his own. Nato felt in trying to keep down his blush, but all I can say is do what your heart says, only you know what the best thing to do is. Another sigh escaped the young Jinchuriki's lips as he slowly made his way down the hill, calmly walking past Tazuna and Sakura, neither of which noticed him, as their eyes were completely on the fight between Kakashi and Zabuza. Naruto walked straight to the assortment of 21 ice mirrors that he knew was Haku's ultimate ninjutsu. Inside he saw Sasuke breathing hard, Sharingan active, covered in needles all over his body. He finally activated it. That the jutsu you wanted so much, you finally have, Sasuke. You're a step closer to gaining the strength you want, but how far will you go to get it, I wonder. Itachi spoke of the Uchiha's curse of hatred with disdain, yet he's the very one who forced it upon you. You had it before you even activated the first stage. It's plagued you for years before this day. Now that it's activated, what will be of the boy I once called brother? He'll well and truly do anything to kill Itachi, but once that is over, will he still be the Sasuke I once knew? One more needle to Sasuke's neck, and he crumbled into what Naruto knew was a coma-like state. One of the things Haku had admitted she could do. He would be absolutely fine. She was in her mirrors. Naruto could sense the exact one by her chakra. She was in the very top one, but she was looking directly at Sasuke and seemed not to notice him. I'm so sorry that I had to do that, Uchiha-san. Naruto had wished to turn you back to how you once were, but I have seen those eyes before. That look behind the Sharingan you wield. You will do anything to attain power. Haku-chan. The girl suddenly went rigid and looked around from her top mirror and gasped as soon as Naruto stepped within the jutsu. You are alright. My brother is like that. He has had the Uchiha clan's curse of hatred for a long time. He will do anything to get vengeance on Nissan. I will not allow that. Do anything to get vengeance. I will not allow that, but I can't kill him either. It is not in me. I still see him as my brother, and I would sooner kill myself than slay my family. Haku stepped from her mirror and lighted in front of Naruto. She took off her hunting mask and looked into the blue eyes she had grown to love so much for the support, the eyes that had pain identical to hers, the ones that shone every time he gave that smile that made her heart skip a beat. Naruto-kun, please, she almost begged him, but knew that she was talking about. She wanted Naruto to come with her and Zabuza to leave Konoha. Haku, her heart sunk more than she thought possible at his mission of Chan, suffix she was so used to. I don't have an answer for you. He turned his head away, a frown on his lips. I want to go with you and Zabuza. I really do. But I don't want you in danger. If I leave, the Konoha will chase after me. They'll come after me until I'm either caught or killed. And they'll either go through you or use you as a hostage to get to me. How could I ever do that and live with myself? How could I ever put my last precious person in danger and be so selfish? Naruto-kun. Haku had her hand over her mouth and a tear in her eye before she wrapped her arm around him, hugging him from behind. Please come with me. I will protect you from Konoha. I will become stronger than even the Hokage. It means you'll be by my side. And if you leave my side, I will always be empty inside. Zabuza is my master, and I love him as much. But Naruto, you are also my precious person. Please don't leave my side. Her tears had begun to leak into his shirt, and the blonde's eyes, tears gathered in his eyes, threatened to spill. His strength was fading. He knew he would give in. Why am I causing her so much pain? How could I do such a thing? Not to Haku-chan. She is my most precious person, the only one I have left. Haku turned around and looked. Naruto turned around and looked Haku in the eyes. He was just about to speak when suddenly the sound of chirping birds filled the air and both of their eyes widened in an instant. Haku had disappeared and Naruto was right behind her. With the joning moments before, Kakashi smirked under his mask as his dog summons had bitten and trapped Zabuza, rendering him completely immobile. He performed quick hand seals. This is the end for you, Zabuza. Lightning Blade. His hand was surrounded by a visible lightning tracker, and he rushed straight for the meanciend, knowing there was no way he would dodge the technique. As his speed increased, Kakashi felt his hand pierce through flesh, but his eyes widened. Seeing it was not Zabuza, but the hunter who he had stabbed, a girl who was probably only 14, he pulled his hand out of her, and right before she fell, his blonde student materialized, catching her before she fell, lying her head on his lap. Naruto tears fell freely now as he laid his eyes upon Haku, injured and very likely to die. Haku, no! Her chocolate brown eyes glimmered as she looked up at the blonde tears of her own flowing. Naruto-kun, I'm sorry. I had to. I'm still just Zabuza's tool. No, Haku-chan. Why, I was going to say yes. I was going to go. The pale girl smiled up at the blonde eye. Gomenasai, Naruto-kun. Her breathing was short as she coughed up some blood. Please don't leave my side. Naruto nodded shakingly. Never. Kami, why do I always have to lose my precious people? Why do all of them die? Kami, just let me save Haku-chan. I just want to save her, please. She's all I have left anymore. Kurama sighed and felt her very guilty as she continued to hear her students' pleas and prayers. She knew her way, but it was so risky. Naruto, I can help. I can give you a way to heal Haku. You can save her, but it will change you forever. Just tell me. I don't care. Just let me heal Haku-chan. He demanded by thought, knowing Kyui would hear him loud and clear. He could clearly hear Kurama sigh and felt her nod. You have to give me control of your body, and you only need to use 2 tails of my chakra, and they won't regenerate for a long time. Done. Just do it. Naruto's eyes suddenly turned a deep crimson with slit pupils, and around his body a cloak of bubbling red chakra in the rough shape of a fox with 2 tails surrounding him. One tail was pressed to Haku's forehead and the other was against her stomach. As Kyui made many hand seals using Naruto's body, hundreds of hand seals over the space of mere seconds, her power was increased with all the bandits of Zabuza and Kakashi's were killed. The fear fueling her chakra to be more potent. Finally, she growled out in Naruto's voice, Hell style, 9 hells healing. First ring, thievery. Kurama's hands were in the snake seal and Haku's body suddenly stilled. Second ring, time. Haku's body calmed down and her eyes were open and dull before gaining a light of life to them. Third ring, loss. Her hands formed the ram seal and she had a chakra pulse that caused Haku to convulse. Fourth ring, punishment. Nothing seemed to happen on the outside during this stage except for tears falling from both Haku's and Naruto's eyes. Fifth ring, conversion. The tail on her forehead glowed bright red, and both Naruto and Haku's hair changed. His hair became bright red with a single streak of obsidian running through his bangs, while Haku's black hair gained a streak of that same red through her own bangs. Sixth ring, acolyte. The tail on Haku's stomach glowed bright red, and the 2 shinobi skin tone met in the middle of ivory and tan, becoming identical. Seventh ring, fate. Both tails darkened to a deep black, and Haku's eyes became a very dark blue, as did Naruto's, or they would after Kurama relinquished control. Eighth ring, death. Suddenly the tails thinned out and began to absorb into Haku until they completely disappeared. Ninth ring, reincarnation. Kurama relinquished control back to Naruto as the healing was complete and Haku could be seen breathing normally though she was asleep. The former blonde Jinchuriki gasped for air and looked around him before his eyes landed on Haku. Is she healed completely, Kurama? Naruto thought to his tenant, yes. Her breathing was shallow and it showed how tiring it was. She is completely healed, but I warned you that you would be changed. Be prepared for exactly what that entails. The Uzumaki was suddenly assaulted with image in his mind and held his head in pain. The day was full of snow, falling gracefully all over a place Haku instinctively knew was called Kirigakuri, her home. She was excited today because she could show her godson her new ice powers. She had already told her 2 weeks ago not to do it, but she just thought that Haku couldn't control it. The 7-year-old girl knew it. She practiced where no one could see, and she had made her mother a rabbit of ice. It was so adorable, and Haku knew Kasan would love it. So she carried the sculpture with her and opened the door to her house. Kasan, she called out in a melodious voice. She received no answer, so she walked around the house looking in each room. Kasan, where are you? She called again and finally came to her parents' room. She had to be in there. Smiling to herself, Haku opened the door, and what she saw caused her to drop her ice sculpture, where it shattered into 1,000 needles. Her mother was dressed in blood, her father over her corpse with the bloody knife in his hand. stabbing her 3 more times before he looked over at Haku with eyes filled with homicidal madness. Haku-chan, did you make that? You made that ice, didn't you? He got up and took a step towards the little girl, who nodded nervously. His grin was purely insane. Ice. You have an ice Genkai Genkai. I can't believe I had a demon spawn with a Genkai Genkai slut. But I'll fix my mistake. I surely will. Come here, Haku-chan. Help me fix my mistakes. You're scaring me, Tao-san. She backed up out of the room as he followed her, knife held in his hand. Suddenly he ran forward, and Haku ran as well, away from the man who was her father, the one who killed her Kasan. Leave me alone, she screamed as she found herself up against the corner, her father pointing the still bloody knife at her, slowly approaching her, agonizingly slowly. Just stay right there, Haku, he said, and suddenly lunged for her. Haku screamed, waiting for the pain, but it never came. She slowly opened her eyes. She had shut and gasped, tears already forming in her eyes. Her father was frozen as an ice sculpture, still in mid-lunge. Her tears then slowly freeing. Tao-san! She fell to her knees and continued to sob as she realized what she had done. She had killed her own father. Was that Haku's memory? Yes, it is one of the effects of the healing. I am much too tired to explain it now. You must wait for me to awaken Naruto-kun for now. Protect Haku. Her life is in your hands just as much as yours is in hers now. And with that, he felt Kurama passed out within his mindscape. Naruto sighed and shakingly got to his feet as he could feel that over 3/4 of his insane chakra reserves were gone. He looked around the scene before him and steeled himself as he noticed that the bridge was strewn with bodies of workers and bandits, as well as what appeared to be Zabuza. The Jinchuriki looked over at Haku and nodded to himself as he ceaselessly created a shadow clone and watched over Haku as he slowly walked to the missing nin, who appeared to be almost dead. Naruto knelt beside him. Zabuza. The swordman looked over to him and coughed blood from his now covered mouth. Gaki, I heard you. Too bad both Haku and I died. Looks like you have to suffer a little longer. Zabuza. Haku's not dead, Zabuza. The joining level nin eyes widened. I healed her, but I don't have enough chakra to do it again. Zabuza nodded and coughed once again. Well, looks like my dream won't come true after all. But at least one of them can. Naruto looked at him with complete attention as he coughed again. You take care of Haku. She's like my own daughter, and also... He paused to catch his breath. Take care of my sword. Naruto's eyes widened. Nani? Take my blade. There are scrolls on how to use it at my base. There are things that only Inuzumaki can do with the swords of the mist. I want you to become new Kirigaki no Kijin. Take my blade and don't let anyone take it from you. Take my scrolls in the base and use them. Learn them. Do not let anyone keep you or Haku from your dreams. Naruto nodded once. Hi, Zabuza, I will. Good. He breathed in one last time before he looked at Naruto. One more thing. My bounty is rather large. Use it. That much Rio will come in handy for 2 kids on the run. Arigato, Zabuza, Naruto said and nodded once more, a tear falling from his eye to how generous Zabuza was being for him and Haku. Tell Haku she made me proud. Shakingly, Zabuza took one final breath, and his eyes dulled until no life was left in them. Naruto stood and looked over to where he felt Kakashi's signature, seeing him and Sakura over the Uchiha. Naruto scowled. They don't even bother with me. Don't care what happened to me. I made the right choice. Without another thought, Naruto made another shadow clone, who quickly sealed Zabuza's body in a scroll. Naruto himself grabbed Kubiki Ribocho and mentally ordered his other clone to bring Haku to him. He strapped the blade to his back, placed the scroll in his trench coat, and picked up a Haku bridal style. Pretend to be me, and once a day create a new shadow clone to take your place before dispelling. That should give me at least a few days head start. Go. The first Kagebunshi nodded, while the original dispelled the second and disappeared in a swirl of wind to where he and Zabuza's base was because of Haku's memories. He was free from Konoha, but his journey has just begun. He would have to fight to keep Haku safe from Konoha, but he would fight to his last breath to keep his promise to Haku. I will never leave your side, Haku-chan, I promise. And Uzumaki never goes back on their word.